Jarrod Schulz never set out to chase fame, yet Storage Wars catapulted him into the spotlight. With his quick wit and fiery dynamic with Brandi Passanti, he became one of the show's most memorable young guns, bringing energy and unpredictability to every episode. But away from the cameras, life was far more complicated. Legal troubles, personal struggles, and an abrupt exit from the series left fans wondering what really happened. Why did Jarrod disappear from the show that made him famous? And what led to his downfall? The answers may not be what you expect. Jarrod Schulz was born in Long Beach, California on October 15, 1977. From a young age, he was curious and loved figuring out how things worked, but life at home was anything but steady. Without a strong foundation, he drifted in the wrong direction, dropping out of high school and falling into drugs and crime. By 1997, his choices caught up with him when he was arrested for felony possession of a controlled substance. At first, it looked like a short sentence might be the wake-up call he needed. After pleading guilty to meth possession, he was given 60 days. But just weeks later, Jarrod was back in trouble, this time for transporting narcotics and driving under the influence. The second offense earned him 16 months in prison, and it turned out to be the turning point of his life. Behind bars, he saw the reality of where his path was leading. Sharing space with violent offenders forced him to confront the choices he'd made. Determined not to end up like them, he entered a substance abuse program and worked to get clean. By the time he walked out of prison, he was ready to start fresh. That fresh start began in 1999, when he took a job as a sales office manager at a carpet cleaning company in Tustin, California. It was there that he met Brandi Passanti, who had just been hired. At first, their relationship wasn't simple. Jarrod was technically her boss, and dating wasn't exactly encouraged in the workplace. Friends even teased him about being too rough around the edges, leaving notes on his truck telling him to be nicer to her. Still, Jarrod was persistent. Brandi later admitted that it wasn't love at first sight. In her words, Jarrod wore her down, following her around like a puppy until she gave him a chance. For his part, Jarrod knew persistence and wit were his strongest tools, joking that he had to compensate for not being the best-looking guy in the room. Eventually, the two started dating, and to avoid workplace complications, they both left their jobs and pursued their relationship outside the office. While working odd jobs to get by, including a maintenance role at a mobile home park, Jarrod dreamed of becoming his own boss. That vision led him to launch Outlaw Apparel, a clothing and accessories brand built for the biker community. Thanks to his understanding of the culture, the brand struck a chord and quickly gained attention, giving Jarrod his first real taste of entrepreneurial success. Now, although they were never married, Jarrod Schulz and Brandi Passanti share 2 children together, Cameron and Peyton. For the most part, the kids have been kept out of the spotlight, but Brandi has spoken openly about some of the challenges they've faced growing up. Her daughter Peyton was born deaf and with a cleft palate, a condition that required surgery when she was just 6 weeks old. That first procedure, performed on her ears, allowed her to hear for the very first time. While the surgery worked, Peyton experienced a speech delay and went through speech therapy to catch up. Over time, her hearing fully healed, and Brandi has proudly shared how joining the school cheerleading team not only improved her speech, but also boosted her confidence in a big way. Cameron, too, faced his own health scare. During a routine checkup for a urological issue, doctors discovered a mass on his kidney. At first, it was monitored without intervention, but eventually, symptoms began to show. His grandmother, Lori Passanti, recalled how Cameron spent 3 months at the Children's Hospital of Orange County, missing a significant stretch of high school during that difficult time. Away from family matters, Jarrod was also going through his own struggles. After starting a family with Brandi, he left behind his earlier path and tried his hand at the mortgage industry. Brandy chose to stay home, focusing on raising the children, while Jarrod worked to support them. But timing was not on his side. He entered the mortgage business just as the housing market collapsed in the mid-2000s. The crash left him unemployed, without benefits, and struggling to find work. After nearly a decade in the industry, he was left with little to do and few opportunities on the horizon. It was then that a relative pointed him towards something completely different: storage unit auctions. Curious and desperate for a new start, Jarrod decided to give it a try. Soon, he and Brandy were bidding on lockers, sorting through other people's forgotten belongings and reselling items for a profit. Before long, they had so much inventory that their house began to overflow. Jarrod would later joke that they were on the verge of landing on an episode of Hoarders. Instead of letting the clutter take over, they turned the problem into an opportunity. The pair opened their own thrift shop now and then, a small store that marked the beginning of an entirely new chapter in their lives, one that would eventually lead them down a path neither could have predicted. As their thrift shop began to find its footing, Brandy and Jarrod continued making the rounds at storage unit auctions. It was during one of those auctions that Jarrod struck up a conversation with a television producer who happened to be developing a brand new concept. That idea would eventually turn into a show the world came to know as Storage Wars. Months later, the same producer reached out, sending a camera crew to film at Now and Then. Brandy happened to be at the store that day, and her personality immediately stood out. What started as a casual encounter quickly turned into something much bigger. Impressed by her natural charm and the dynamic she shared with Jarrod, the producers offered them both a place on the show. When Storage Wars premiered in 2010, it took off almost instantly. Brandy and Jarrod, nicknamed the Young Guns, became fan favorites thanks to their back-and-forth banter, competitive edge, and sharp instincts when it came to bidding. For them, the opportunity had seemed modest at first. Jarrod once admitted that they expected little more than a bit of publicity for their store, even if the series only lasted a single season. Instead, it became a cultural hit, changing their lives in ways they could never have anticipated. Suddenly, everyday moments carried a new kind of recognition. Their standard of living climbed, and small luxuries started popping up, like dining at restaurants, where chefs would surprise them with dishes off the menu just because they were recognized. To family and friends, it felt like winning the lottery, a twist of fate that had brought success in the most unexpected way. But fame came with its own set of challenges. Jarrod admitted that life in the spotlight wasn't always easy, especially since neither he nor Brandy ever planned on becoming television personalities. Suddenly, their world changed. Opportunities opened up, but so did the need to adjust to a very different kind of life. After 4 successful seasons on the hit series, Jarrod and Brandy decided to step away, but not because they were done with television. Instead, they landed their very own spin-off, Brandy and Jarrod, Married to the Job. Premiering in 2014, the show shifted the spotlight from storage unit battles to their everyday lives. Viewers got a closer look at the couple as parents, business owners running their thrift store, and partners trying to finally plan a wedding after 15 years together. The series drew inspiration from Duck Dynasty, leaning into family banter and suburban chaos. A press release at the time made it clear that this wasn't going to be another treasure-hunting series. It was about the Schulz household. Viewers got a front-row seat to their never-ending bickering, quirky parenting moments, and the often chaotic balancing act of business and family life. One of the biggest storylines centered around their wedding planning, or rather, their inability to get to the altar. Jarrod seemed uninterested from the start, even joking that Brandy should find a stand-in groom. Tension only grew when he pushed her to pick a dress from the bargain rack, sparking yet another argument. While Brandy tried to stay focused, she admitted his constant negativity made her feel like she was planning a wedding he didn't want to attend. The dysfunctions spilled into other parts of the show too. Jarrod encouraged their kids to gamble during a pool game, and he pushed for building a bar inside the house, both of which Brandy shot down. In her own words, she painted marriage as something you just suffer through, side by side, until the end. The spin-off lasted just one season before being shelved, and both stars eventually returned to Storage Wars. Back on the original series, their fiery chemistry remained a highlight. Their arguments over bidding strategies and business decisions became a fan favorite, so much so that A&E released a compilation video of their top on-screen fights. One memorable moment came when Brandy accidentally raised her hand at an auction, placing a bid she hadn't intended. Jarrod used the mishap to spark a prank war, secretly raising bids behind her back so the auctioneer would count them under Brandy's name. The joke didn't land with her, and she was left frustrated and stuck paying for lockers she never wanted. Outside of television, things were no less complicated. Brandy and Jarrod co-ran their thrift store, Now and Then, in Orange, California, all while raising their two kids, Peyton and Cameron. But eventually, the partnership fell apart. They quietly separated in November 2018, keeping it under wraps for years. The public didn't find out until 2020, right around the time reports surfaced that Jarrod had faced a resisting arrest charge the year before in Lake Forest, California. That same year, Brandy sat down for an interview with the Dad Diary and finally confirmed the split. She explained that she was raising their children as a single mother, something she admitted she had already been doing for quite some time. It wasn't easy, especially with the added strain of the pandemic, but Brandy made it clear she was the one carrying the daily responsibilities. With a touch of humor, she added that the only thing really missing in her household was that intimidating dad voice in the background. Brandy also opened up about the challenges of raising Cameron and Peyton as teenagers in the middle of such a major life change. She pointed out that it was tough for them to go from living with both parents to suddenly just being with her. Emotions, she said, often ran high. She understood that her kids were dealing with a lot and explained that she had to tread carefully, giving them space to process and heal in their own way. Even after a few years, things between Brandy and Jarrod remained strained. In an interview with Distractify, she admitted that she was relieved not to run into him often. She described the relationship as tense, acknowledging that she wished things were smoother, but that they managed to get through it nonetheless. For fans of Storage Wars, though, the breakup wasn't exactly shocking. Viewers had seen the signs for years. On screen, Brandy and Jarrod frequently clashed over business decisions and often bickered in ways that hinted at deeper problems. What may have seemed like light-hearted antics at the time turned out to be a glimpse into their real-life struggles. Behind the scenes, there were whispers of cheating, money issues, and disagreements about business ventures. The tension between them only grew more visible in later seasons, confirming suspicions that their relationship was unraveling. While neither Brandy nor Jarrod has publicly shared the full story, their decision to keep the breakup private for 2 years shows just how guarded they were about their personal lives. In the end, the split seemed inevitable. The pressures of family, business, and reality TV had taken their toll, and the connection that once held them together was gone. For both of them, moving on may have been the healthiest choice. When Season 13 of Storage Wars premiered in August 2021, fans who hadn't kept up with the news were in for a shock. Brandy and Jarrod arrived at the same auction, but separately, and revealed to everyone that their relationship was over. Jarrod made it clear the breakup wasn't stopping him from showing up, though he emphasized they were strictly on their own now. The tension quickly showed on screen. Brandy called him an idiot over a $400 bid And when she wanted a unit Jarrod had his eye on, she had her friend Mary step in to bid for her. Jarrod fired back with his own brand of payback, joking that if Brandy wanted a locker, he would bid just to outdo her, and he did exactly that on a separate unit. Although their split wasn't exactly a secret, some viewers still hoped the two might manage a civil, even friendly relationship. Instead, the show transformed them from partners into competitors, both chasing the best storage units. Their on-screen exchanges were often loaded with sarcasm and frustration. Though loyal fans continued to hold out hope they might at least find a way to stay cordial. Outside the show, their personal lives were taking very different turns. Jarrod had moved on and was openly dating Rochelle Beckman, going public with the relationship in January 2020 after posting a photo of the two at Disneyland. Meanwhile, Brandy was more focused on rediscovering herself, opening up in interviews about finally stepping into her own identity after years of feeling overshadowed. By then, it was clear that the breakup was shaping the new direction of the show. Brandy promoted Storage Wars on her social media, but went so far as to crop Jarrod out of photos or cover his face with emojis. She spoke openly about the split, while Jarrod returned to the series with his usual bold, confrontational attitude. Things took a much darker turn in April 2021 when the two crossed paths at an Orange County bar. What started as an argument spiraled into a heated confrontation. Witnesses said Jarrod pushed Brandy twice after she told him to leave, and though she left before police arrived, a report was filed. The Orange County District Attorney later charged Jarrod with 1 count of misdemeanor domestic violence battery. The incident caught the attention of A&E executives, who immediately began reviewing whether to cut ties with Jarrod. During that period, he was expected to step away from the show. Jarrod eventually pleaded not guilty in court and pushed for the charges to be dismissed, but updates on the case have remained scarce. When Storage Wars returned for season 14 in 2022, Brandy was back, but Jarrod was noticeably absent. While no official statement explained the decision, his exit appeared final. After stepping away from Storage Wars, Jarrod Schulz has kept fans updated on his life through social media, especially on Facebook. From the looks of it, he's been living a full life and seems happy with his partner, Rochelle Beckman. He first introduced her on Instagram with a spa day photo, later sharing more selfies that showed him beaming with joy. While some fans congratulated him, others couldn't resist bringing up his past with Brandy Passante, with many still rooting for a reunion. His reality TV career has been fairly quiet since Storage Wars. Aside from his spin-off with Brandy, the only other show he's appeared on is Celebrity Car Wars, which aired on the Southeast Asian version of the History Channel. In 2017, he competed in every episode of Season 2, filmed in the Philippines against comedian Harith Iskander, model Erin Yuktadata, and actor Guy Ratchanont Suprakob. Jarrod described the experience as a dream gig, joking about how much fun it was to crash cars. Still, he admitted the hardest part was adjusting to the traffic in the Philippines, where he said drivers had to stay razor-sharp to avoid collisions. Outside of TV, Jarrod once promoted his clothing brand, Outlaw Apparel. Known for its edgy, rock-inspired designs, it sold shirts for men, women, and kids. But today, the brand appears to be gone. The website domain is up for sale, and its social media accounts have been silent for years. Jarrod has never officially announced its closure, but all signs suggest the brand has folded. Fans also wondered about his Orange County thrift store, Now and Then, which has since shut its doors. But Jarrod didn't just disappear, he switched gears. In April 2019, he opened Rush Bar and Grill in Lake Forest, California, describing it as a fresh start and a way to create a great neighborhood spot. Much of his social media now focuses on promoting the bar. While he's no longer in the reality TV spotlight, Jarrod remains a familiar name to Storage Wars fans. Whether he'll ever return to television is uncertain, but the possibility always lingers. The bigger question is whether audiences would welcome him back after his split from Brandy, or if the past will always overshadow his future. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content.